For mental health, how would you change the system?
The first thing that I would do if I was in charge would be to change the diet and lifestyle of patients like my brother who are in mental health facilities and treatment centers, where I've been doing a lot of research recently trying to figure out what options are available to us as a family and to him. And there's some great ones, and there's like private ones, and they're very expensive. And you look at all these things and everything that they offer, and there's nothing about nutrition or lifestyle. Meanwhile, you have all of these studies that are coming out that have been coming out for years, but it's like people are just now catching on about the impact of sugar and glucose on the brain, of the gut-brain connection, of the fact that, and we know anecdotally, people who have had major success in completely changing their diets and being able to control their schizophrenic symptoms, their bipolar symptoms. And you go into these hospitals and it's like, I'll go visit my brother. And we sit down in this like very cold, sterile, cafeteria. Also the environment of these hospitals, it's literally like a jail. And it's, kind of has to be that way in some cases because there's a lot of people who are a danger to society. And so it's a locked facility. But it's incredibly sterile. I can't hug my brother.
Really?
I'm not in this facility specifically. I'm not allowed to hug. You can't touch. And it's like when they turned their back, like I was there with a nurse a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, "I'm, not supposed to hug," but she would like turn around and walked out the room, so I was able to give him a hug. But it's so cold, and so that's a whole. But we back to the food part. We sit down and we were having this conversation, and they'll bring us some food. Like, do you want any snacks? And they'll bring like a soda and a bag of Honey Grams. And I'm like, Reed, what are you eating in here? And it's like awful, awful hospital food. And it's like, you have this incredible, unfortunate opportunity where it's like somebody like my brother who might be on like a 5150 hold, which is a, like they did not check themselves in. They were brought in by the police. You have an incredible opportunity where they can't leave to try to make some change in their lifestyle, whether that is working out, if there is an area where they can go take a walk, or even if it's just, hey, we're not going to give you Honey Grams. We're going to make sure that you are eating a high protein, lower carb diet that, hopefully we can clean up your gut health, have some kombucha or, something.
Yeah.
There's nothing. And it's like my brother he was in a hospital in Idaho for 3 years on an involuntary hold. And we weren't able to see him, at all throughout that 3-year period because it was kind of on the tail end of COVID. They had really, really strict regulations, no visitors allowed. So he was in this awful, awful environment. That's where he went nonverbal. He doesn't speak anymore. So sometime in that 3 years in this, I'm grateful that he was safe, but it definitely was not the most nourishing environment. He stopped speaking. But he was there for 3 years and nothing changed. It only got worse.
Do they have him in isolation?
It's very isolated, yeah. They'll have a roommate and that kind of thing. Yeah.
If that's the point where he stops speaking, there's got to be something there.
Yeah.
That seems like it would not even hold it at the same level, but it would get worse.
Yeah.
If you can't even hug him, it makes them not only
he feels inhuman.
Right.
Yeah, it makes them feel like crazy.
But the diet too, like serving sodas, it seems like that's the easiest thing to fix. Or just serve water.
Yes.
And that's cheaper than soda.
It feels so common sense of like, maybe it won't fix all the problems, but it could certainly help them feel a little better. I mean, just like if I go out and, I have a margarita and I have a big thing of chips and queso and I get a skillet cookie at the end of the night, I feel like crap the next morning. We all do. Your brain feels icky. And it's like, imagine already dealing with the weight of a serious mental illness and you feel like that 24/7 with the addition of the crap food that they're feeding you. It's appalling because you have this, again, you had 3 years with my brother and he went backwards. I guess, what as a society do we do with individuals who, the system is not actually trying to rehabilitate? And again, the asylum system was not perfect, but there was a long-term solution. And so I think that is the reason why homelessness is the way that it is across the country. And, Donald Trump has talked about this in passing of we need to bring back some sort of system to help clean up our streets. Because in my experience of, Reed was homeless for many years, of going out and finding him and being with him and engaging with his homeless community, they're not down on their luck trying to get a job. Those people, they get to a homeless shelter, they get a room, they get a job. And they take all of the resources and they put them to getting their life back on track. The majority of the people that Reed was around, that I interacted with, that we engaged with on this like entire weird journey of kind of him being homeless and I guess of just my adolescence, they all were basically choosing to be homeless because they made a lot of money from the government, because it was easier to get drugs, and because they were crazy and didn't want to have a job or couldn't have a job. Or they were like too mentally ill to be accepted into homeless like shelters.
Yeah. That's been our experience in Los Angeles.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because we were close by Venice.
Yeah.
And just a lot of what we saw was not people down on their luck. I'm sure that existed. And it's weird because I did a lot of research because I saw the problem is getting worse. And the studies show that a lot of these people are down on their luck.
Yeah.
And the studies say that it's because rental prices are too high and rent control isn't protective enough and it's kicking people out. But what I've seen, 90+% is more mental health, drug-related issues.
Yeah.
And
Massive
I
drug.
don't know what came first, if it was drugs and then mental health, or mental health, which
a
then
lot
led
of
to
it
drugs.
coincides. Yeah.
But that's what I saw, and a lot of the people just aren't in the mental capacity to ever work, to get into homeless shelters, to try to pull themselves up.
They can't.
And they're
they
just kind of
literally
left
can't
on the
survive
street.
in a halfway house.
Right.
Yeah. Like my brother has been able to be in halfway house situations where it's like he gets money from the government and that he uses that to pay his rent. And there will be like a person that is there to help him drive around and get groceries and take you to your doctor's appointment. And they like check on you and make sure you're good and you're there. But there are times when he has not even been fit enough to be in that environment, and where they've like, all right, Reed, here's your new room. And then it's like, okay, no, he's not there yet. It's a very nonpartisan issue that I wish was talked about more. And like I see, like as you were talking about the studies, like the ACLU is so against bringing back any kind of like long-term care because they're like, no, we need like community support and rental prices need to go down. But I'm like, again, you're missing like the crux of the issue. So yeah, I hope that there can be some change. I'm, talking to some folks about like what hopefully I could do with this platform. But that's very hard. It impacts obviously millions and millions of people. So yeah, I don't even know what the real solution is, but what's happening now is not working, and it's not working for families. It's not working for the men and women that are in these situations, and it's certainly not working for our cities based on what we're seeing on the streets. I mean, it's just like a desolate system.
Now, you might have noticed that I'm someone who pays close attention to trends, and lately I've been noticing cowboy boots everywhere. It's pretty clear that a great pair of boots isn't just for the ranch anymore. They pair incredibly well with everything from casual outfits to full-on business attire, and that's why I'm excited to announce today's sponsor, Tecovas.
Have you ever wondered if you could pull off boots? I'll tell you what, I absolutely have. Let's be honest, you owe it to yourself to try out Tecovas. Tecovas makes handcrafted Western boots with over 200 meticulous steps for a perfect fit right out of the box. Whether you're a lifelong cowboy or a first-time boot buyer like myself, you'll feel right at home in them.
A great pair of boots really just pulls everything together. With Tecovas, you don't just look put together, you feel put together. And trust me, people notice. And right now, you can get 10% off when you sign up for email and text when you go to tecovas.com/iced. That's TECOVAS.com/ICED. Tecovas.com/iced.
Plus, Tecovas backs every pair with their Best in the West guarantee with free returns and exchanges for 30 days. Seriously, guys, I genuinely recommend Tecovas, and if you think you can't pull off cowboy boots, see for yourself. You might be surprised. Thank you so much, Tecovas, for sponsoring this episode.